I can't speak for him, but I don't think that's what he wants to do. And it's very clear because he still wants to focus on he wants us and our partner studios to continue to release games that can be completely genre defining, especially for mobile.
It's 4 a.m. and we're rolling the dice. Matei drops knowledge made of gold and ice. Felix with ads making those coins rise. Jack up designs, worlds chasing the sky. We're the 2.5 gamers, the midnight crew. Talking UA adverts and game design too. Matei, Felix, Shaka bringing the insight. We're rocking those vibes till the early daylight. Matei, UA, master eyes on the prize. Tracking data through the cyberspace skies. Felix stacks dollars like a wizard in disguise. Jacob's crafted realms lift us to the highs. 2.5 gamers talking smack. Slow hockey stick, got your back. Ads are beautiful, they light the way. Click it fast, don't delay.
Hello. Hey, welcome to 2.5 Gamers, where we stay 2.5 steps ahead of the gaming industry. My name is Matej Lančarič.
I'm Felix Broberg.
I'm Jakub Remjer.
My name is David Pan.
And
We
are your
hosts.
It started so well. It went so well.
I know. It's fine. David, welcome to the podcast. So we have a special episode. Can you introduce yourself, please, and tell our
Absolutely,
listeners?
guys. I'm so honored to be here today. I am a former viewer and fan turned now into a guest. As you guys all know, my name is David Pan. I'm currently spearheading business development, investments, and all types of fun things at Habby.
Hey.
The legendary Habby at the podcast at last. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, it took us
Absolutely.
like 3.5 years?
3.5 years.
Something
By the way,
like that.
Jakub, before we join, please keep the mic close to your mouth because I suffer in the post-production quite a lot.
Okay.
You are like 5 decibels lower than all of us, and it really hurts my ears. But today we're going to talk about Habby and all the fun around your games and how you do stuff. It's important and everybody is interested to hear.
Absolutely. And then I want to say before we kick this off, I'm curious too. A lot of people have mentioned before, like, oh, it's so hard to reach out to Habby. But I do know that there's quite another large population of people who have made contact. For you guys previously, you guys have spoken with Stefan. Have you managed to meet some other people from Habby in the past?
Oh, Stefan only, and I don't think Stefan...
He's the CEO for those who don't know.
I don't think Stefan remembers us from the days where we actually worked with Boombit, and we met Stefan in Gdańsk, which was a long time ago. And
Where
then
he was showing us the initial build of Archero.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So it was a long time ago.
All right, so
And
this
then
is
we
like
met-
probably 2018 then, right? The 2018, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Something like that.
Do I get it right? But basically, this is like first time like Western interview with someone from Habby.
No, so have you guys ever heard of my predecessor, Shrikant?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
Yeah, so basically Shrikant, he was running this whole show, including things like, PR and all that stuff for the longest time since 2018 as well. And then he basically put all the frameworks together. He's made it so it's like this transition for me from being formerly product guy now to business development. He's made it so smooth as well. So I just want to give a huge, shout out to Shrikant if he's watching. He might not be watching, but yeah, it'll be great if I can connect you guys with him too. He's still doing business development right now at a company based in the UK, I think. Yeah, for mobile games.
Nice.
There we go, light grenade.
Light
grenade.
bomb.
Yes.
We got the mood.
No, yeah, exactly. Now it's the real deal.
Yeah, anyway, can you introduce a little bit of what's your current position? I mean, like work and stuff, David, at Habby currently, because director of publishing is one thing, but I guess every single company have their what
does it even mean?
It basically means I just get to talk and they pay me. In all seriousness, so for Habby, when Shrikant he decided that he wanted to move on to his new opportunity, the company basically was in had a bit of what's the word, kind of like a void for a long time, because like for Habby, unlike, like, not to throw shade or anything, but I think a lot of companies, when they hire for business development, it's more on the business side. They're looking for someone with true experiences on how to lead contract negotiations for things from mergers, just investments as well. But then for Habby, they were really looking for someone who could evaluate a product, like mainly from a publishing perspective as well. So that's how it kind of worked out for me. But like to get to the crux of the question is, the business development director for Habby is expected to, of course, find leads, of course, to lead all the talks with potential studios that we might want to partner with, investments, et cetera, et cetera. But most importantly is we're expected to lead our teams into trying to find a product that is truly going to be the next, hopefully, Archero, Survivor, Capybara Go, et cetera, Souls, all of them. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Regarding the company itself,
It's pretty good.
I'm still like, lots of people are, I think, finding Habby a little bit under the shroud of mystery of like who they are, what they do. So if you can elaborate a little bit on that, as the company itself.
Yeah, so it's like you guys know too. You guys have met our fearless leader, Stefan. He founded the company in 2018 inside Singapore. And like the company started off, right? Like there was a bit of like, what is Habby? What are we going to do? Are we going to develop? Are we going to publish? Et cetera, et cetera. And of course, we're primarily a mobile games publisher. Like that all said, we do have some pretty big goals to see if we can do our own games as well, and we're quite involved in the publishing process too. By that I mean we're quite involved with our development partners inside tweaking the games. But I think the best way to think about it is we are a mobile games publisher, so all things from user acquisition to all the other publishing related services, that's something we do, and we're quite good at it as well.
We can see we can see that since Archero 1, Survivor, and even Archero 2 and Capybara Go and all the others. So it's pretty
Yeah, those titles aren't bad.
good. Yeah. I mean, we did cover all of them. Basically.
Yeah, all of them.
I think instead of the Archero 1, but all the others.
Well, I got one for you guys. Have you guys played Punball? Have you guys played Penguin
Yes.
Isle?
Yes.
Flaming Core? Oh, Kindred War, yeah.
Kindred
Have you
all
played
of them.
Flaming Core? All of them. All of them.
Of course. I was doing some research on it, so I played all of them.
Nice. Very
Because,
nice. Very nice.
Yeah, you don't see the template if you don't play all of them.
Ooh.
The infamous
the-
Habby
True,
template.
true.
Yeah, the famous Habby template.
Hey, no, my
Regard...
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. Go for it.
Well, regarding the let's say Western expansion, there's been recently an investment in Turkey by Habby. Can you talk a little about that, because that's, I think, was opening a lot of eyes here in the West.
Yeah, that's something that was really cool because that happened a little bit right after I joined. And then, so like basically the company, as we all know, they're called Mavis Games, and they're led by a great husband and wife team. And the CEO's his name is Sagan, and he is probably one of the most intelligent and nicest guys you can get the chance to speak with. He's not only been in the gaming industry before this, he's been in all types of things related to technologies and et cetera, industries. So when he decided he wanted to start games, like that was back when it was literally just him and his wife. And then they made the connection with Stefan, and then it just all happened so quickly. Slidey Block Puzzle was Habby's first ever game. So it's so funny when you think about how we've made our name now publishing these roguelike games, when the first game we did was kind of like a you guys have played Slidey Block before, right? It's kind of like that one specific kind of like the subgenre of, puzzle games where you move the block along and whatnot. And like that was a hit. It was a hit. It was quite profitable. And from there, though, the relationship we had with them was, hey, we want to give them some space and some time to continue to explore, to see what they want to do. And not so long ago, we had a discussion with them, and they really want to get back to it. And not only get back to game development, they also want to put their foot down and see how big can they do this all by themselves. So that's where the $2 million investment came from. And it's something that was a long time coming, I'd say, as well. We're just really excited to see this next game that they got. the specific name, I'm sorry, because it's a prototype name, it's escaping me, but it was kind of like the something color, and it's still going to be in like the casual puzzle thing. Yeah, and I'm not doing a great job. I can't remember the name.
No, don't worry.
But,
Like it's still quite early. We discussed this with
was
in
saying,
Istanbul,
right? Yeah.
because he came to attend our event in
Mhm.
Istanbul last week, and he is really a really nice guy. And he also said like him and Stefan goes way back when Habby published their like first game, which was a long time ago when they still kept close. And now it's like when the opportunity was there, it's like, look, let's do this.
Exactly.
Here's the investment.
I like to take this moment to basically put our company on kind of like a pedestal too, as like kind of gross that might be. A lot of people in my talks with like these studio heads who are like, hey, we're thinking about working with Habby, they always ask like, oh, like when we do the business side of things, there's not that much that makes us seem so different from ABCD publisher. I don't want to name specifically, but
Yeah.
like the one thing I go back to is the fact that Stefan, our leader, our boss, he is so keen on long-term relationships. And then I always bring up that story, right? It's like, hey, they were our first ever, game development partner, and they made a game that now is technically not in our, what's the word? Not in our, it's not
Genre?
technically our forte. Yeah, genre. Yeah. It's not our strength, but hey, we're still willing to continue this relationship, like because of all the sentimental value that's been there, whatever. But yeah, that's definitely it. And I'm actually curious too, when you were speaking with kind of like the Sagan, it's like, did he bring his whole team along, or was it just him?
Only he was there, because when you're attending the events, you can't
Yeah.
work, and someone needs to work on the side as well.
Someone needs to be there.
Dividing.
And he's so nice too. It's like
He
what
is,
you
yeah.
mentioned. Like I'm going there for like the Moba Dictum. My plane lands at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or something, and then he basically volunteered. He's like, "I'll pick you up at the airport." I was just like, "No, Sagan, it's okay. Call a taxi." And then he's like, "No, I will pick you up at 4 or 5 a.m. at the airport." So he's a super nice guy, super humble.
That's how it should be. The relationships are very important.
Absolutely.
It is a people business after all.
As much as especially console players will be like, all mobile game developers, publishers, marketers are evil. It's like, we're people too, man.
Regarding the current mobile games, like I would call them like pretty much like the second generation now. After the first 4 or 5 we talk about, like Archero, Kinjaran, Survivor IO, and Pambol. So we have now Capybara Go, Archero 2, Whittle Defender, released recently. A lot of these games, I mean like all of them, when we look at them a little bit closer and in our reviews, we see them skewing much more towards microtransactions than ad revenue than was done before in Habby's, like let's say, design style.
Mhm.
Any comment on that, or as like just confirming the move from hybrid casual to like heavy IAP games?
I think from the start, and that's something that internally, I think I brought this up before in our previous talks, where it's just like internally we actually don't like that term, hybrid casual. It's not saying
Even
that
though
we don't like
you're
that.
being credited with the invention of it.
I actually was speaking to someone. Geez, it's totally escaping me. But I was talking to someone not so long ago. I think it was at Gamescom, and then like they were telling me how they invented that term. And then I have talked with some people, and then they're just like, "No, it's because of you guys. When you guys made Archero, you guys." But the point is, internally, we do see ourselves still as midcore through and through, and albeit midcore with a very easy ramp into onboarding, right? That all said, though, going back to the question, we have, yes, like we do want to move more into the IAP space. IAA has been something where it's like, oh, it's great, it's there and it's working. But with each new game that we develop, or ones that we develop in tandem with our partners and we publish, we always want there to be a specific focus on in-app purchases and long tail retention. Because one thing that we talked about during China Joy too is, as you guys know, user acquisition for us, right? Like we don't have that same manpower and those same tactics which a lot of our counterparts here might have. So rising UA costs are something that we feel the pain from it, as with a lot of publishers do. And we do believe that as long as our games foster really high long-term retention, and if we try to get that IAP conversion rate as high as possible, it's something that we can live with.
If I can just tag on to a question here, which kind of is about ad revenue, right? Because you used to have a lot more higher percentage of ad revenue, and now you kind of made this move, right? What were kind of the discussions going on backstage to make that move happen, right? Because it's still nice to monetize the user base that's not converting.
Right. I think this might make Felix upset, but at Habby, it's like the guys in charge. Like there still is this feeling, which is like the more ads we have, it's only gonna. Oh no, we lost Jakub.
No, don't worry.
Like
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
It's like the more like it could be rewarded, it could be interstitials, whatever it is, it's going to impact the user experience. And at its best, it might make your play session a little shorter. At its worst, players will churn. In our minds too, we just want to make sure our retention is as high as possible.
That makes sense, but I guess you have A/B tested all of this just to get this retention as high as possible.
Yeah, and then it really just goes back to it's all connected, really intertwined. Where it's like, hey, if our retention's high and our UA costs are going up, then it's not that big of a deal. If our UA costs continue to be as high as we do see them, then a low retention rates, it's basically probably the difference of a couple $100 million even.
Yeah. Sure.
So basically, if you look at it like Survivor.io compared to Whittle Defender, if I saw your retention numbers, it would be way higher on Whittle Defender compared to Survivor.io.
I do want to share something, which is like, in terms of long tail retention, there is a game that, I recently talked about this, like Survivor.io and the first Archero, their long-term retention is like the chef's kiss. And then I'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
One thing
we saw the retention numbers for Archero when it was early on, and it was already like chef's kiss on steroids. So
yeah, Stefan was showing us actually.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a long time ago. So, but still, yeah. And we can see the huge success of Survivor.io. So again, we can understand like where it lands.
Survivor.io and Archero, they're really special, I think. And then that's why Survivor.io is in a lot of ways the true successor to the first Archero. So yeah.
One thing I want to add here regarding the context of this discussion, like we're currently looking Whittle Defender on screen, is that I think it was after Legend of Mushroom where I noticed that basically the infamous template got upgraded with a lot of their perks and stuff that Legend of Mushroom was running. So I put it out now at something like version 2.0 or maybe 2.5, especially with stuff like Felix was mentioning.
Of course, it's 2.5.
Yeah, okay, 2.5 then. Stuff like the lifetime privilege cards and like stuff like that, because that's basically the push from the ads into like more IAP skew territory. Like for us, as you said, like if Habby itself was always looking at itself as a midcore, for us in the West, it always was like hybrid casual, but now it's like even for us it's midcore because it's like as core as it can get. And Whittle Defender, by the way, it's like the most core-ish game you have, if I understood correctly, because just the meta, the spend depth, like it's a squad-based game, which you don't really have on the other hand. Like all the other games have just inventory systems of a single character and so on and so forth.
Yeah, but look, before you go a little bit deep on the template side, David, you mentioned the rising CPIs and all of this, and honestly, the ads part can help you with that because it's gonna, if you add like the blended ROS campaigns or the added ROS campaigns, it can drive the CPI down, but you're gonna get very different player profile. So I can get the movement towards more IAPs because it's way more quality users that retain longer.
I remember having a conversation with our director of user acquisition actually about this not that long ago, like a month or two ago. And like, let's just say it's all things we're still working in, like we're still trying, experimenting. We're really excited because we have a very special game that is in soft launch. It's not the one that you guys have seen or people talk about. For that game, we're going to try to do a lot more with that. We're going to try to break how people view what Habby has been doing with our last few launches, from Capybara Go to Archero to the Whittle Defenders. Yeah, that one's gonna be interesting.
You're going for Forex template, fake ads, fake
no,
game,
no,
real
no, no,
game?
no. That I don't want to basically generalize an entire population of CEOs out there, but there's a joke in China that if you're a mobile games founder CEO in China, you will try to do a Forex SLG at one point in your life. And then that might be the last game decision you ever try to make too as well. But I don't think that's the case with Stefan. I can't speak for him, but I don't think that's what he wants to do. And it's very clear because he still wants to focus on he wants us and our partner studios to continue to release games that can be completely genre defining, especially for mobile. And with that comes a lot of expectations. Like I've talked about this before as well. Like we see Archero, like a lot of people say Vampire Survivor clone, but then in our minds it was like we refined this genre to be literally perfect for mobile. Just one thumb gameplay, super responsive, yada yada yada. Yeah.
Which studios is it you guys look up to the most? Is it like the Supercells of the world, or is there any studios that is just you guys go like, oh, that's cool?
I like to say I'm going to give a really diplomatic answer here, and it's that there are so many studios and publishers that do something so good, and maybe they do some things that aren't so good. We just like to focus on all the good things that each one of them does and see which ones can we replicate, which ones can we do better. And for those things that we're like, it's really clear, like we can never achieve this, we just won't bother. Like, for example, not speaking on behalf of the company, but let's just say if you're a company that's really good at huge budgets for user acquisition for Forex, that might not be something we're so keen on doing, at least not now or the near future. Yeah.
Like the other answer is you look into the mirror and say, publisher of the month, Habby.
And that's actually pretty cool too, because it's not that we specifically tune those press releases out. I just think the only one who's really paying attention to that stuff is probably me, because the rest of the team is so focused on like, what's our next game? How do we make this better? I'm the only one who's like, I'm on LinkedIn all day. I'm on like stuff like this all day. But maybe that's why they hired me, right? I'm basically LinkedIn boy.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on a little bit further, then we had an episode by Lemon recently on the channel where he covered again the minigames market of WeChat minigames in China, and there's a special section dedicated just to Habby, so just wanted to go over it very quickly, where there's a Capybara Go reskin version, as he named it, which is again something that we talked about before, basically Capybara version in I guess that's the Chinese team there. Then there's the Capybara Go 2.0, which is with Habby new meta system as said. This, if I'm understanding correctly, is the one that's coming from Whittle Defender because it's with RPG, much more deeper meta, stuff like that. Again, Trinkingdom's team, which is a China local team. So again, very, very localized. And then the last one is, again, I'm saying like a little bit of surprise to me. There's a Clash Quest kind of follow-up, which is the Supercell game that was killed some years ago with the new meta 2.0 Whittle Defender system. Taking all these into account, just wanted to get your comment on like how do you see currently the WeChat minigames platform for you, and especially in your context of your soft launch strategy.
Yeah, so I will say two things. One, for the WeChat minigames, right? It's kind of like the implication there that your game is published on this platform. It's going to have to go through some changes as opposed to if your game was specifically published for kind of like the traditional platforms. You might have to tweak how the game performs to make it run well on WeChat minigames. Because of that reason, that we can push the game's performance to. Like things as simple as feedback, responsiveness to how the graphics play out. So that's one thing, if that makes sense on what I just rambled about.
No, all good.
Cool. All these are things that we're very aware of, and how we treat this platform, we're not holding it on a pedestal. I think that's something that's pretty interesting, that now all these Western developers and publishers are like, oh, WeChat minigames, we need to get on WeChat minigames. Right? Yeah. But it's like, oh, are you sure you want to be on there? Is it even worth your time to be on there? And what I've noticed is a lot of old school publishers for mobile games, like these guys with huge IPs behind their games, they're so keen on breaking out into this space. I think that might be like pretty good, or who knows what can happen. But more than likely what we think is if you just go on there, your thing's going to get copied. Your IP might not be too relevant to the local Chinese who are playing, and the rest is history. But yeah.
Okay, sounds like
people only see the revenue
golden part.
potential. Yeah, the revenue potential. It's like,
Yeah,
it's
people
gonna be
always say,
awesome.
like,
You're gonna earn so much money.
Yeah, like people are just like, oh my god, like the whole population's on WeChat, and then like, oh my god, my DAU can be like this much. I just have to, yeah, that's all true, but how are you going to get people? How are you going to get the people continuously playing your game if you want to do IAP? Who's going to be your Chinese, like what's it called, the ISBN like license, whatever.
The middleman.
Yeah.
Also, like,
although it's
how are you
easier
gonna do
now
UA?
to get it. How are you going to do the UA? Yeah, exactly. Like, there's this one game in China called like the Xian Yu Zhi Wang, and I don't know what it's called in English, but it's it's like the fish game. It's like a idle RPG, and then like they go hard on the ads too. Like my WeChat is flooded with their ads. So yeah.
Yeah, we had like a casual discussion at China Joy with Lemon. It's like, these guys, like few people, like they're spending 2 million a day on WeChat mini on the UA. Like,
exactly. I'd love to share a story from when I just started in the mobile games industry, and then at my first company, they stopped trying to do China market because, and then this is back in 2017, 2018, they stopped doing China market because they felt the UA was too expensive. I don't know how they feel now compared to what's been going on in the rest of the world, but yeah.
I think that's consistent what we hear from other companies when we go to China, always that Chinese market is actually even harder for them than the overseas market and the Western market.
Yeah, also people don't realize as soon as we came to China for China Joy, like there were already so many clones of games on WeChat with so many new like plus ones and iterations. Mm-hmm. So you push your game into WeChat, and then next day they're gonna be 10 clones.
Yeah,
way better than your game.
Way better. And then like it's like the top 2 will do well, and then like there's like 100 that like did it okay, but they're still commercially failed, or like they're considered commercial failures. When kind of like the Lucky Defense, when that came out, it was literally
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like 2-3 days later, it's like this one company that copied it on WeChat games and did really well. And then like the scary part that I think we want all our friends in the West to really get is like the scary part is a month to 6 months. Well, beyond this, companies are still trying to copy that in China for WeChat mini games. They're still trying to crack it. And then it's just that kind of hyper competition that's just insane.
Ruthless.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't understand, I guess. That's why I wanted to bring it here, because to hear it from a like local Chinese studio, because WeChat minigames and everything we say about is great and everything, but you need to compete in much higher gear compared to the Western market. So that's there. Anyway, moving on. Thanks for that. Yeah. How did
you guys feel about that one game though? I'm so sorry. How did you feel about that one, like the fruit game that you saw, the fruit and vegetables game?
Fruit Ninja?
The Clash Quest. The one.
Not Clash Quest, excuse me. Yeah, not Fruit Ninja, yeah.
The one Clash taking Quest. On the Supercell's legacy there.
Yeah, because you guys found it, and then like there are quite a few people that are talking about this like a month and a half ago. How'd you guys feel about it? It's like, did you guys play it?
No, I haven't played it yet. But I know the game from.
Please share the link with us, and then we can play.
Yeah, us. We can go into the charts.
I don't think it's up anymore. And then this is one of the titles I was like, I'm not going to talk about this, but because you guys, boom, it's right here in front of my face. It's like. Yeah. There's gonna be what you see now might not be what it is. If
heavy iteration in the meantime.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I'm keen on like what's there, because if I remember correctly, this whole thing was actually taken from one of the PC Heroes spin-off games where they had this mechanic, and then Toko designed it in Supercell, which is their pristine guy who did like Boom Beach. Brawl Stars and like Heyday, and like pretty much one of the best designers they ever had, and then they killed it actually. So I don't know, like we don't really see that much puzzle RPGs coming out recently. Like the days of Empires and Puzzles, all those things are kind of long gone. So I'm a little bit skeptical, even though that somebody's still probably viewing something in this idea when you picked it off. So let's see. We'll see. Always great to see some innovation.
Yeah, we will see.
I think before Q4 ends, before Q4 ends, you guys should be seeing something pretty freaking cool. Pretty freaking cool, yeah.
Can't wait for that 4X. How do you see currently the biggest challenges for you in the Western market as for Habby and its expansion, scaling, and pretty much getting the market share that you need?
I want to say it's something that a lot of publishers who have released titles that are pretty successful in the usual countries in East Asia, like South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, or China, that like we're all dealing with this thing, which is like, hey, the games do great in these regions, but we can't replicate the same level of success in the West, aka the US. Is it something we view as a challenge? Yeah, we definitely do. We're actively trying to see what can we do to make sure our games are in this, like, we don't specifically mention them, but right now they're popping in my head, like, Supercell, at least kind of like the classic Supercell. By that I mean like from Brawl Stars and Clash of Clans and etc. Like all these games, they do so well worldwide, period. And that's something that we wanted to see our new games achieve. All in all, our newer games, they still did really well. They still are doing quite well, especially in the US. But are they at that same level that we see in specific regions that I mentioned earlier? Maybe not as high. And that's something we're going to try to fix. And it all comes down to the monetization as well. And like we at Habby, we truly believe that monetization, it's a big scary word, especially from a user perspective. But how we can tie that into not just live ops or not just blah blah blah, but into the core loop.
When I look at the comparison between you and Supercell and the UA and creatives and all of it, that's your biggest problem right there in terms of the US and the West. You do really well with all the creatives in Asia because you know how to do it properly. But when you use the same creatives in West, it's not going to work. That's why the Survivor IO did really well, because of the theme, because of the ads, and basically everybody copied your ads. Just right now, for my games, and when I work on different midcore titles, or not even midcore, but anything else, I just have this concept which is called Survivor IO, which works everywhere. It doesn't matter. It works really everywhere. That's why it works so well, and you could scale. And then you look at the Capybara Go and all these different creatives, which are not really tied to the gameplay. You have the Capybara, but it's so Eastern oriented. If you don't change that, you're not gonna win in the West, unfortunately, because it's just the CPI is so high exactly because of that. The monetization is great, but the CPI is bigger. And then the lack of playables in all the different channels, that's where you need to push a little bit.
I definitely internally we talked about this before too. And then in fact, during our conversation inside China Joy, that was one of the first things I made it a point to go back. Right.
Yeah,
like
sure,
we're just going to continue. Yeah, definitely.
It's a long process.
And then like we're at that point too, which is like, hey, if we can publish the next first Archero or the next Survivor, that'd be great. But right now the mindset's like, hey, that was the past. We need to do our best to see what we can do to change some things to achieve that same success, whether that's in UA or whether that's in a game design even. But yeah. Absolutely. Wholeheartedly agree with you, Matt.
Or, you could go the dark way and join the Forex group right over the block.
I mean, Jakub, I don't think this is going to work that well for Archero, because Archer or Habby in general, like you already have the kind of the wider appeal a little bit and the kind of smooth onboarding into the games. I don't think, what would you do?
I'm not saying do fake onboarding game on top of Survivor. I'm saying put Forex behind Survivor.
Yeah, for Survivor.
Jesus.
I think you guys know this story. At my first company, we primarily did slots games, and then our boss was like, I'm going to do a Forex now. And then I was like, holy fucking shit. And then so it's just insane, because I've heard the stories about how, for example, Sentry, like how they built it up to this point, and it was very methodical, and it required a lot of moving pieces, including like, hey, I'm just going to have...
That's even that doesn't work like that.
Exactly. Yes, I'm glad you guys said that. Yeah, it actually does not work for all genres. You can't just do that. But then we tried it and it was a spectacular failure. And then, like, just rounding back that experience, if a team, I'm not even speaking for Habby here, just like for
in
a video
general.
game company, in general, if you want to do Forex, you're going to actually have to go and probably poach a producer and his entire team. And that is not cheap. Like, that's like, you're not even doing user acquisition yet. You're already spending a hefty amount. And then, I mean, but who knows? Who knows, though, right? Like, you never say never.
Never say Forex.
You never say for it.
Never. Hey, my first Forex game, like not counting like, traditional PC Forex games, like my first mobile Forex game was actually a game by the name of Kingdom Guard, the tower defense, and then
Yes,
turned
we
into
know,
a
we know Top for Fun.
We know
So
it.
we're pretty well.
We know
Yeah.
Top for Fun.
Yeah. That game just like completely blew my mind. I was like, what the F? And then,
Yeah.
and then you get into it though, like I was talking to
Exactly.
River Games too not so long ago, and then it takes a special breed. It takes a special breed to do this. And then what's funny is now, like we were talking about this with China Android, there's a few Western developers out there too now that are like, hey, we can do this. If Gameloft did it, we can do it. So yeah.
Yes, exactly.
The famous last words. How hard can it be?
Yeah, I have like. I can just get a little bit of market share and I will be fine.
Yeah, I heard that multiple times.
I do want to check myself really quickly. I did not mean to say that like, disparagingly, because at the end of the day, I do think it is pretty important that non-Chinese publishers and developers, try to throw their hat in on this. Because right now, like, it could be a cultural thing, it could be whatever. I just don't think they're fun. But I love, Forex as a genre, especially like my PC, like Forex games, grand strategy, whatever you want to call it. So I do think there's a lot of room to make it better. Like, kind of like, even though it's not a non-Chinese company, but when they made like Rise of Kingdoms, right, kind of like from Lilith, it changed everything about this genre.
Yeah, back in the days, if you go even further, there was the time of Machine Zone where there was Mobile Strike and Game of War, pretty much glued to the top 1 and top 2 in the charts, and that's it. And there was the charts all the time, every day. So that's there. This goes directly into my second questions. How do you see the biggest challenges of Western developers compared to Chinese one in the Western market?
If you talk to if you talk to like just a random what's called product manager, monetization manager in China, they'll always tell you the same thing. They'll tell you the Western developers are so creative, they're great with how they want their games to be artistically, blah blah blah, but they just don't know how to monetize. And then right, it's just
That's what I wanted to hear.
Amen.
Well, I've spoken with a few of my like very good friends who are developers in Canada and the US, and then the conversation usually goes down to like, maybe it's they don't want to admit it, but I like to think that they don't want to do it because there's some kind of line in the sand that they don't want to
like
cross.
moral high ground? That's
moral high ground. Yeah, moral high ground. And whether or not we want to believe that is the fact, I will believe that, like, because I think monetization is it's a tricky thing to get, but if you really wanted to go out there and to learn and to unpack it, I think it's totally possible. I really do think that there's a lot of developers in the West who just don't want their game to turn into that. But I think you guys know much more about this than I do, because not only have you guys worked on that side before, like for example the Yaku, but you guys have spoken with so many developers in the West.
Yeah, I've experienced
what do you
it
guys think of
firsthand.
it?
Literally, like, we won't put gacha in our game. That was the answer. I'm like, really?
Yeah, we refuse to add more ads in this game because
We feel money.
We feel that is mean to the players, or the players won't like it. And you're like, okay.
I think that's a great point from Felix too, right? It's like we're talking about the admon, and then I mentioned earlier too, right? It's like we don't want to go too heavy on admon, like, because there's perception that's like, if I raise our imp DAO to like more than 10, all of a sudden there might be a fucking Jesus Christ, I can't use big words. It's like the retention might go down, and then like the imp DAO goes up, but the retention goes down. An inverse relationship. Thank you. Sorry, inverse relationship. Yeah. So why did I get a master's degree if I can't even use those fancy words? But but then we mentioned things like, oh, but then what about a battle pass? Won't battle pass make retention go down? Well, it's really interesting stuff. And I'm not on the data team. I'm sure if they delved into it, they might be able to see a thing or two about that. But if we go back to the question, right, it's like, what's the biggest challenge for like these Western devs? I've spoken with quite a few, and I've seen them come up with really great core loops. Yeah, but the monetization, and then even not just that, it's like the core loop is really good, but it's like, what's the deeper kind of like, what's the progression meta? It's like they have something there, but it's like, is that really going to facilitate somebody coming back to the game in 2-3 months?
Spending $100.
Yes, very much. See you later.
Yeah, thank you.
Or never.
See ya. Right.
Yeah, this is the point where I've been telling, like, for the last, I don't know, 10 years basically. Like, the moment that I like understood what free-to-play game design is about, like, monetization is the game design. If you don't have monetization in mind when designing the thing, you can't just duct tape it all later. It just doesn't work like that. I think that's the problem with, like, the romantic designer or developer part, where I completely agree. Like, some people aren't here for the money; they're here for the art. It's completely okay. But you can afford your moral high ground when your game is profitable and it's like LTV or viral success or something, and then you can have these things. If your game is barely managing it or like struggling to get out of soft launch, like, goodbye. Like, that's just what's gonna happen.
Talking about soft launch, you have an interesting approach to soft launching. And we were kind of thinking like why Asia first and then global, then like you opening up different geos, markets. How is that?
It's changed. It wasn't like that before.
Yeah, it wasn't like that
Archero
before.
and Survivor.
What's the kind of thinking behind? If you can talk about it a little bit.
I think you're referencing, it's like that one country we like to go hard in, and then we bring in like 2-3 other countries in East Asia, and then from there it's just okay, we just go, right?
Yeah. Because you mentioned if it doesn't work in Vietnam, then you kill it.
I don't remember. I don't recall saying that.
No. I mean, no, you didn't say it like that. But if it doesn't work, then you need to refine.
Right. So like basically comes down to proxy countries, and that's something that I really love about Habby cookie cutter template, which is super important if you're a smaller team and you don't have those same pillars to help you support advanced testing or advanced hypotheses making, right? But then for Habby, it's like they're quite clear, like, this is our target audience for this game. We know what country is going to give us a good proxy, and then blah, 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 you do it there. And then whatever happens in the rest of the world, we're pretty sure it's going to be replicated from these countries we've chosen. Now, will this change in the future? I think it will, especially when we start doing games outside of this specific genre or subgenre. So it's something we're aware of. It's like what you guys mentioned. What we're doing now is different from what we did a certain amount of years ago. So yeah, it's just what we see is working for us now.
Because you have so many data points that like if these are the benchmarks, these are the KPIs. If they're better than what you saw before, then you move forward. If they're not, then you need to refine.
Right, definitely. And that's something I will mention too. I don't know why it is. Maybe I haven't talked to enough of them. It seems like a lot of Western developers, they're not super strong on event mapping. It's like they're aware of event mapping, but they're not doing as much as they could. And then I don't know why that is. Like, maybe you guys have some insights there, but yeah, event mapping is like super, super key with all companies here in East Asia, right? Like we got that stuff all up in the data, so we can see exactly what's going on and make all types of
decisions and hypotheses.
Yeah.
Usually when I work with different companies in soft launch, they ask me like, oh, what are the events we should track? I was like,
wasn't you supposed to have them already?
In my old days as a publishing manager, I literally had like the front end guy and the back end guy, the leads, like they'd be so mad at me because each week I'm giving them like a long list of things like, I want to see these events. And then they're just like, do you know how many fucking shit that's going to fucking clog up the fucking thing? I'm just like, please try, right? And then like, sometimes I did ask for too much and it did like screw up the servers to an extent. And then, but then
you at least
like,
you know what
more than less.
Exactly. Yeah.
It can kill.
You'd rather
kill
have
the game if you know doing the decisions wrong from that point on, especially in soft launch.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think this kind of goes back to that thing, which is like maybe in the West, there's this like people are so focused on like the game itself as opposed to everything else, right? Maybe
it's not maybe. That's the reality.
That's the reality.
I mean, there's exceptions, right? But yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's definitely huge exceptions. Like, like I wanted to give them a shout out, like Stillfront's, BitLife. Like, that game's just amazing. And then I think they did it their own way, and I don't know how they did it, what was their plan, their methodology, but like from the rewarded ads all the way to your in-app purchase design, right? Like, I was telling you guys. I think I was telling you guys, I at least left a comment on your YouTube video talking about it. Like, I was just like, it's like I'm playing a Paradox game. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
life simulator game we have reviewed on the
Yeah,
channel.
Yeah. I love Stillfront. I love you, Johan.
The Swedes.
Okay, Felix, Mate, any other questions on your plate? I think I'm kind of running.
No, I asked pretty much
Yeah,
all
I
of
asked
it
mine too.
because we don't wait until it's our turn. We just want this conversation
Yeah.
going and flowing. That's the key part of the discussion, Jakub.
Mm.
I think what's next for Habby then?
Yep.
That what we can kind
Wrap
of
it up.
expect.
I was about to say, like, now sounds like it's a good time for like kind of like the shameless plugs and like all that stuff. I have my own product line, and then I'm gonna send them. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. But in all seriousness, I think what's next for Habby, right, is probably the same for a lot of publishers. The next game, and like what's going to be the next game, and then like the next game after that, and that and that and that. At least that's my focus and the focus I want for my team. And then how to achieve that really is, I just tell people, if you are a studio, big or small, regardless of what genre, if you guys have an idea, please feel free to share it, even for Forex, because I've spoken with a team actually that is doing a Forex, actually 2 teams. And then it's actually something that we'll always at least talk about internally, and we'll weigh the pros and cons, because the Habby today is most likely a little different from the Habby 1 month ago, and et cetera, et cetera. We will always take into account what resources we have on hand and what we can do to accommodate a certain type of game. And if the risks outweigh the gains, then yeah, we'll say no for now, but the door is never closed. So again, we want to see if we can break out of being known as the roguelike guys. Does that mean we'll be doing a match 3 game or something like that? Like, I don't know if it'll be that big of a pivot, but we're open to a lot of things. Yeah.
Nice.
Those just to confirm, those 2 Forex games you mentioned are Western or Asian?
Western.
Okay.
I don't think a Chinese team would. Now, I don't know. Like, keep in mind, I'm not like a real Chinese person, right? I'm like kind of like a fake Chinese person.
Come on.
No. It's true. Like, sometimes I get into a cab and the people are like, "Are you Mongolian?" And I'm like, "What?" So I have never heard of a case where a producer for a Forex game in China will actively go out there and be like, "I'm looking for investments," or this or that. Usually what I hear of is a publisher will identify a special potential opportunity, and then they'll actively go out to try to poach a producer, like to work on the Forex game with their idea. But in the West right now, we're seeing a lot of guys are like, "Hey, I have an idea, I need investment," things like that. Yeah, so that's different.
So how people can reach out to you?
Yes, I'm sure we can do our kind of like the magic video thing, and then my Habby work email will pop up, like, bloop,
Yeah,
just like that, and then you guys can reach out to me
I can do
there.
that.
Nice. And then if you go on to LinkedIn, there might be a million David Pans, but try to look for the fat bald one, and that may narrow it down a little bit. And
You
then
know what
if you
I can
type
do?
in,
Put your LinkedIn
Show notes.
URL into the show notes and profile. Don't worry. We can
that sounds like
make it a little bit easier
witchcraft.
for people.
That sounds like witchcraft.
Yes.
Witchcraft. But yeah, absolutely. And then I'm not as responsive as I was a few months ago because, like, we're in Q4 now, a lot of stuff going on. I wanted to also, I'm saving this for last. October 13th. I want you guys to save the date. I'm also going to reach out to you guys a little bit before that. Like, we got some really big news. Really, really big news.
That's
We're
next
super
week.
excited about it. Yeah, it's next week.
That's good.
It's next week.
Nice.
It's next week.
Very,
We're
very nice.
really excited about it. We're gonna, yeah. I'm sure the gaming industry is gonna really love that news. Yeah.
Habby's getting bought by Saudis with fun.
let's not jump.
Let's not
into,
speculate.
Yeah. Let's not speculate. Let's speculate. We'll see. But which means this is gonna go live before.
Yeah, gonna be fun.
And I do want to say, like, I'm already picturing this, like, kind of like from the viewer's perspective. I feel kind of bad because I feel like there wasn't that much insight that maybe someone wanted to learn Habby.
You
That
would be
was a lot,
surprised,
no
man.
worries.
There was a lot.
Yeah. We can judge.
You know,
But
sometimes
I
it's
do
just
want to, yeah.
sometimes it's just better to hear it from the culprit
The
itself
source.
and confirm the stuff that we're saying, because you never know. And once at least you confirm it, it's like much better than nothing. So don't worry, it's still okay.
Well, cool. Well, I feel really good about that. But there's one thing I do want to, like, if there's something that, like, what games are on your guys' radar right now at this moment? I know you guys do the games radar video each month, but what's something that's on
Soft
your
launch
guys'
sonar.
soft launch sonar? Excuse me.
Sonar, radar, whatever.
What games are on our mind currently? Or you mean like what's like yeah, so there's lots of movement in social casino we are very keen on looking at. For instance, there was this new Rovio game that's pretty much iterating social casino, and the whole social casino is going to be 4x in the next few months, it seems, meaning that they're taking on the like additional onboarding game into the creative streak. So that's there. Then there's a lots of movement in the, let's say, non-conventional puzzle genre.
There's Lucky Adventure as well on the menu for us.
Lucky Adventure, like lots of these, like I would say, trends that are popping up. There's lots of Steam stuff also that, like, we just covered the Megabon game, which seems to, by the way, it's already plus 100k CCU in the meantime, so it's still growing up like crazy. And that game's gonna be copied to hell on both both WeChat, both mobile, everywhere. Like that system is done very, very well.
Like that was one of the games I wanted to talk with you guys about too. I don't know if we have enough time today, but yeah, for Megabonk, I'm really excited. Like, it's so crazy how we find out about this, right? Because all my friends were playing it in my friends list, and then I see it, and then I buy it, and then now in the last week, I see all these websites are talking about it and whatnot. Yeah, but it just,
because it's huge.
Yeah. It looks,
it's a lot of fun.
I don't know. Yeah,
it's very clever iteration. That's like the thing. Like those two games that he put together, meaning the Risk of Rain 2 and Survivor's kind of loop.
Vampire Survivor.
Yeah. It's done very clever, and you know the numbers speaks themselves. Both on Twitch, both on Steam, and everywhere. So we'll see.
All right.
Perfect.
Like that's also something we're pretty big on. Like yes, Steam games.
You can just kind of take them, you know, do it yourself.
Put it as an onboarding. That's been done before.
That's true, absolutely true. But like, again, like, not to sound too much of kind of like a shill or anything, but like we do believe in trying to be ethical in how we do things too at Habby. Like, I think that's what makes us, again, pretty special, even though like we want people to know we're still kind of like a boutique publisher. And then like, because Stefan comes from a producer background, he knows the pain of having his game, you know, copied. And I don't know if we talked about that specific game. Like, it really hurt him really bad, like, when that happened to him. And then the game that copied his game now is like, it's on its 8th or 10th, you know, version in the App Store. And then for his game, it's still kind of like a Hallmark game that like a lot of people have played and still play. But yeah, so like that's something he always talks about too. He's just like, we're never going to do something like that where we just blatantly copy. Now, how people feel about Vampire Survivors and Archero Survivor IO, I mean, like, there's a lot of things we can go back and forth about that. But yeah,
it's like a coming off from different games to like Korean Magic Lantern game. Like we covered it, so yeah, it's not really that easy as it seems on the surface.
Yep,
if you know how it works, then you know it's not easy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And thank you very much, David, for coming. It's amazing, and I hope to see you soon. I mean, guys, Jakub is going to see you in Istanbul for Mogidictum. I'm going to see you hopefully sometimes next year before China Joy. If not, then China Joy it is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But again, thanks. Really appreciate it. Say good words to your team, and we say hi.
Yeah,
looking forward to the announcement.
Yeah,
looking forward.
Absolutely, guys. I still remember it was just like 2 years ago when I was just your fanboy on YouTube, and now like being able to come here to represent our company and just to like, you know, just to share words with friends. It's really, it truly is an honor. And then we're really looking forward to have 2.5 gamers play our new games as soon as it's ready. I'll see what I can do to get that into your hands officially earlier than.
Nice.
Let's do that.
Woo!
Let's go.
Amazing.
That's what we like to hear.
Exactly.
Absolutely. All right, then.
Dear listeners, this is it. Thank you very much for listening. Join the Slack channel. If you have any questions, reach out to David or just comment under the video. And see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.